Good day, everyone. Especially to our instructor, Sir Anthony Gamali. Good day, sir. I would like to introduce myself. I am Christian L. Ventura from Misamis Oriental Institute of Science and Technology. To this video, I'm going to discuss the chapter 6, which is application of the photography in police work. Before that, let me discuss first what is forensic photography. Forensic. When we say forensic is derived from the Latin word forum, which means a marketplace where people gathered for a public discussions. Photography, there are three meaning: literal meaning, modern meaning, and technical meaning. Photography in literal meaning is from the two Greek word phos, which means light, and graphia, which means is to write. The overall photography in literal meaning is to write with the light. In a modern meaning, photography is an art of science which deal with the reproduction of image through the action of light upon sensitized materials with the aid of camera and its accessories and the chemical processes involved therein. In a modern meaning, we use or we action of light upon sensitized materials. We use a camera, lenses, or any accessories of the camera. For example, we use a phone camera. Have a phone camera have a lens that is the accessories of the camera. In a technical meaning, photography it is an any means of chemical, thermal, electrical, or electronic recording for the image of scene or object formed by some types of radiant energy, including gamma rays, X-ray, UV rays, visible light, and infrared rays. This definition is broad enough to include not only the conventional method that may be developed. Forensic photography in overall is the art of science of photographically documenting a crime scene and evidence for laboratory examination and analysis for purpose of court trial. That photography Forensic photography state that this is a kind of evidence for the laboratory examination for use to the court trial or court hearing. This is served as the evidence of the victim. Police photography is an art or science which deals with the study of the principle of photography, the reproduction of photographic evidence, and its application to police work. Police photography is police use photography that police woman or policeman use a photography because for example they use a photography for their documenting police report and etc. Basic component of photography. There are three: light, equipment, and chemicals. Let When we say light, light is served as to be light with a camera to capture any image. Equipment. When we say equipment is we use any camera like DSLR, phone camera, that's an equipment. Chemicals, that is process that image form into picture. Photography has still continues to serve a wide variety of functions in our criminal justice system. The extent to the which photography can be applied in the different pillars of our criminal justice system will be depend on the size of the organization, its financial capabilities, the enthusiasm, imagination, and scale of its personnel. Some application of photography for practical exercise during laboratory works. First is identification purpose. We identify who is the victim and who is the criminal by the photography. Recording and preserving of evidence. We preserve evidence through image through capturing the evidence. Discovering and providing of evidence not readily seen by the naked eye. 4 is recording action of the offender. 5 is for court exhibit. For court exhibit is which is we bring the image or capture evidence in a crime scene in the court. 6 is for crime prevention. 7 is public information. And the last is police training. Identification photography. An identification photography should be an accurate likeness of the subject from which he can be recognized by the witnesses or police officer. This photograph should strive to reproduce every mole, scar, wrinkles, and other marks which will help to identify the subject. Crime scene photography. A general consideration. The primary purpose of a crime photography is to serve information that will assist the successful investigation and subsequent prosecution for a criminal case. Photography is used a permanent visual record of the exact and original location and consideration of the different aspect of the scene and vital evidence of the proof. In the initial stage of an investigation, there are certain aspects that are not readily evident, but later they may affect vital issue of the case. General crime scene photography serve in the following areas. First is to provide the investigator and the prosecutor with an accurate pictorial prevention of the appearance of and position of the object at the crime scene. To aid in the questioning of suspect and witness when their sworn stage statement are being taken. 3 is to prevent to the court an accurate picture of the crime scene, thereby enabling them to understand the evidence better and evaluate intelligently the testimony concerning the distance of the defendant and witnesses. Take note that photography is means of the visual commission basically with a more universal way of conveying a message or idea than spoken or written work. The aim or goal is to record maximum information in a series of photography which will enable a viewer to understand where and how the crime was committed. Perspective and camera position. Crime scene photography are designed to prevent to the viewer of the areas as would have met the eye of an average observing the procedure of taking the photograph is straight or forward. It must have good perspective or simply state the size and distance of object in the photograph must convey a normal impression to the average of the viewer. In short, photography should be taken at eye level position. The term eye level is not restrictive. Taking photograph with a camera pointed up or down normally causes photography distortion, but there are exceptions to this rule. Naturally, if you wish to show an object not in a normal line of vision, the camera must be placed elsewhere. Photographic distortion concerning vertical lines undergo corrective treatment with large format cameras with tilting from front and swinging back, not possible with rigid front and back cameras or during the enlargement processes. Lenses. Two lenses are usually sufficient at a crime scene. A wide-angle lens, a normal lens, very seldom that a telephoto lens is needed. A macro zoom lens is the most ideal for a crime work. Lighting. Usually existing rooms, daylight, and artificial light may be satisfactory for taking photographs of cameras scenes. However, because of the wide variety lighting condition is different areas of a room, there is a need for supplemental or additional light. May a marker in the field of view. Because of the object of the SAM lawyer and occurred to making device appearing in a photograph of the crime scene, it is therefore wise or prudent to take photo with it and one with. The legal accepted markers or making device are the following. First is roller or measuring device. Two is identification data. Three is location marker. When we say roller or measuring device is a roller, yardstick, or tape measuring can show relative size and distance between objects. It can also show the degree of magnification or reduction of the final print. This roller must be placed beside the subject. In the case of fingerprint or handwriting, they are usually placed at the base to maintain a uniformity of location in photographs that will be used for comparison charts. Identification data. When we say identification data, is the small sign is usually placed at the scene, but its data should be limited to the date, time, location, and case or job number. When we say identification data is an information or information we gathered in a crime scene. What time, what happened, and why do criminal do that? That is identification data. Location markers. This can be stake or numbered sign to show specific location of a small object not readily seen in an overall photograph. It selecting a marker avoid using an article which resembling on an object that is originally found in the scene. This location marker is state that is a crime an evidence or marker what can photographer log. When responding to a case, a record of a data regarding the circumstance surrounding or related to the picture taking of the crime scene must be noted for instant recollection. Usually, this information written on a notebook are transferred to the original request form where the negative will eventually be attached before entering the files. Specific crime. Here are some suggestion of the crime suggestion of the photographs to take on the following common crimes. Again, we remind you that the guidance of this subject is the nature of the offense and the elements of the crime. Homicide or murder, robbery case, sex offenses, arson or fire, traffic vehicular accident, and lastly is article or object of the evidence. Homicide or murder. Since the investigation of the death has a wide variety of forms, photographs should provide information concerning the manner and cause of death of the victim. These sets of photographs should help the investigator in the reconstruct of the crime and in verifying statement of the suspect and witnesses. Robbery. This one is the robbery. This is a general view of the interior of a building. Point of break or entry. Mark or force should be shown clearly with both medium view and close up. Point of exit. Condition of the room. Be aware of the characteristic pattern which will indicate modus operandi. Place where valuable materials were removed. Article left behind like bul- burglary tools, metal saw, metal file, screwdriver, and etc. Trace evidence like fiber adhering on a window frame, soil, cigarettes, butts, burn matches, powder, tool mark, shoe, or footprint, fingerprint, which include the place where they are found or developed. When we say sex offenses in a crime of rape, the photography to be taken are a place of incident, sign of struggle or resistance on the part of the victim and object of the evidence. The photography of general view should probably show the remoteness of the area to normal traffic or its distance to the nearest dwell place or the place is not normally meeting place for a social purposes. Medium shot should show broken branches or pressed glasses if outdoor and comp bedding or pillows thrown about in indoor. Arson or fire. The difficulty of providing arson, the wildfall, and malicious burning of property is so great that every technical aid must be brought to the photographing of an arson case is sometimes long extending for a period of several days. It should begin as soon as possible. Usually picture of the fire is progress and continue throughout the search for evidence after the fire. Traffic vehicular accident. Traffic vehicular accident is a death or seriously injuring being investigated by the police involving motor vehicle should be photographed with primary purposes to help determine whether there was negligence in the operation of the vehicle. Inadequate control due to the excessive speed or loss of control due to defective mechanism or sudden physical disability of the driver. Distance position, speed and fragment left behind the scene of the usually photographed subject. Since injured persons are removed from the vehicle to the hospital or morgue and vehicle involved are moved to the side to give way to the traffic, the taking of photography should be done with speed and precision. The number and nature of photograph to be taken will be vary widely and seriousness of the accident and the difficulty involved in fixing responsibility. Be sure to include reference points and details of the case and responsibility of the accident. This list had been found to be applicable in any case. Article or object of the evidence. When we say article or object of the evidence, is important item of evidence are usually photographed individually at the scene of the crime as they are found upon receipt at the crime laboratory. These photographs serve the following purpose. One is permanent record or of the original appearance of the object. Two, it is may be used in place of evidence thereby listing unnecessary handling that can cause alteration. Typically of this evidence are tools, weapons, bullets, car rides or shells, contraband, illegal drugs, cell phones, and etc. It can also be wound, contusions, bruises, scratches, identifying mark on a body of a person, and other which might deteriorate or change in the passing of time. Several methods can be used in photographing items at the laboratory. If the purpose of such photography is simply for identification purpose, the image should be sharp in all details, free from confusing shadow and large enough to show important details of the evidence. Large object of group of small objects should be arranged symmetrically. That's all, and thank you for listening.